me. Yes, I'll just let you know when YouTube is live. We have to get this working. Finally, come on. Let's stop it. Let's stop this. Right, YouTuber go. YouTube's going live, mate. Okay, just to say hi, welcome back. It's part 2 of Worst Day Ever. I'm Eleanor Conway. Thank you for coming back. I'm excited. Anyone that's interested in sober dating, you are in for a treat. I know at least 2 people that were messaging me over the past few weeks to ask me about sober dating and my thoughts, my advice on it, and what I thought about it. So here we are. I want to say thank you to Syphas for joining us in the first half, even though she was in a dungeon. I want to say thank you to all the support that I've received concerning my porn fund during the course of the week. I don't even know what that's about. Check my IGTV for more information about that. If you would like to support the stream, feel free to go to my ko-fi.com/worst day ever. Forgot about that. And if you want to get access to the porn fund updates, if you want to get access to the porn fund updates, hang on, I'm just turning the audio up. Then you need to, how about that? Okay, I've turned it up. Let me know, Callum, if that's any better. If you would like to know anything more about the Porn Fund updates, get some exclusive access to all my little secret pervy updates, then head on over to my patreon.com/Eleanor Conway, where I am posting all those hidden little things, and you can get access to that for as little as £3. Awesome. I think YouTube's working. Brilliant. Oh, that's good. If you're watching this on YouTube, please say hello so I know that it's all working fine. All right. One more thing, Manchester, I'm in you October 4th. But hang on, let me turn it up a little bit more. I've turned it up to the maximum now, Callum. So Manchester, October 4th, I'm doing You May Recognise Me from Tinder again. It's the first show since being back. It's a big day. It's a big day. I'm excited. Right, coming up, we've got some sober dating advice. If you've ever wanted to know what you should do whilst dating sober, you are in the right place. It's the wonderful Emily Syphas. Have I got that right? Is it Syphas? I don't know. She's going to correct me if I got it wrong. I'm pretty sure. From Sober and Social. Emily, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Not too bad. Just gonna, you look lovely. How are you? Well done for making it here. Is it Syphas?
Syphas, yeah.
Syphas. Got it. I just wanted to make sure I got it right. Hang on, I've just dropped my water. Right, how are you? What's going on in Sober and Social world? You've got lots going on, haven't you?
I've got lots going on. Yeah, we're very busy. When I say we, I mean me. Doing the membership that's about to launch on the 26th of September, which is really exciting. So just getting up really early every morning, working on the website, working on the content, getting everything ready to launch, basically.
And what's the new subscription for people like what? ...
For people that are looking for some community and support and fun on their sober journey, basically it's based around how I got sober and how I still stay sober today. And I thought when I went sober, I would have loved something like this to be able to tap into and just make sober friends, like attend, events, get the best resources, know about drinks brands. And now more than ever, when we can't connect in real life, we need something where we can all connect into with each other. So it's going to be a digital membership for now. So that's what we're doing, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, it sounds brilliant. Do you know what? I'm really gutted that you did an event at the Box when I was in Australia. I was absolutely mortified I couldn't make it.
You would have loved it. It would be right up your street.
I know, totally. I totally would have. I would have absolutely loved it. Sober Pippa says people like the picnic crew. I don't know. Yeah, I think she means people like the picnic crew.
I mean, the picnic crew was awesome. So yeah, I'm sure they do like the picnic crew.
Yeah, I thought she meant people like the picnic crew, like people, whatever. I think I got lost in the meaning of that. Oh, Rachel says it was so good. You did a picnic, didn't you? Quite recently.
I did a picnic. Yeah, socially distanced, of course, just in case anyone was worrying about that. We had hand sanitizer on arrival and plastic gloves giving out all the drinks.
Mate, safety first. Beth says, sorry I'm late, I was fielding. I don't know if you saw the previous stream, Emily. I've basically introduced Sakisa to a new fetish dating app. It's fetish, but
Yeah.
it's not really fetish. Have you heard of this one?
I haven't, no, but I like that you have, and it seems to be working out for you.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, it's all right. Listen, well, look, I'm sure I'm sure I'll mess it up at some point, Em. I'm pretty sure that I'll mess it up. Um, yeah, I think Pippa, sober Pippa, has then gone on to explain what she meant with the intonation. Thanks, sober Pippa. So, what is your status at the moment, romantically?
I would say dating.
What does that mean to you? What does that mean? Because I don't really know what dating means.
Um, so at this moment in time, I would say I'm dating one singular person.
Yeah.
I'm not on dating apps. I was on dating apps for a few weeks, actually. But they're really not my thing. They don't actually feel that good when I'm on them. So I came off them. And then I've been on 6 dates with one person.
And this is the person you are currently dating.
Correct, yeah. So I would say I'm dating, but it's not a label. And I don't want it to be a label.
Oh. So at what point do you turn it into something, or do you not turn it? Are you, like, if someone else comes across, do you then? I'm not very good at that.
I mean, I wouldn't get with anyone else.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't. But I've never really kind of multiply dated. I'm not very good at that. Like if I like one person, I'd rather stick with that person, see where it goes, and then if it doesn't work out, bring on the next one, you know? Not have I don't know how people go on like 3 or 4 dates a week with different people. I've just never been able to do it. Like mentally, it's very confusing as well. And it's like, have I already told this person this thing? Am I repeating myself? Like, what did I say to Steve on Tuesday? Was it the same that I'm going to say to Greg on Thursday? And where was it that they all lived and all of these things? You have to remember so much information. And I just can't retain all of that information about all of these people. So just dating one person at a time is how I roll.
Gaz Riley over on YouTube says, well, first he says, yes, it's working. So it's only taken me 10 weeks to make it work. Gaz says, I like the system they have in Iceland, but I have no idea what that system is. And he's not provided any other description. So hopefully that means me saying that, it will give a little bit more of a description. Sober Pippa says, oh, a dating juggler. Love that idea of a dating juggler. I know exactly what you mean. Last night I went on a date with that guy from Field, and I was like, oh, you live in Finsbury Park? And he was like, no. And I was like, oh, sorry. But I didn't have to lie because we're all supposed to be dating other people. So, yeah.
I mean, that's so open and wild on Fielder. I feel like they'd be like really understanding. They'd get that you'd been on 10 dates that week.
Yeah, like it's weird if you are like just monogamous looking for one
Yeah,
person.
what do you mean you only stick to one person?
Weirdo. That's even a fetish in itself.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the fetish. Maybe it's like, oh, she's really, that's my kink. I'm not fetish. I was like, oh, I was saying like I don't have a fetish, or I'm quite vanilla, but maybe that is my fetish that I can only do with one at a time. I don't know.
I don't really think you're that vanilla, if I'm completely honest.
Do you not think so?
No.
Oh.
I don't know if that is a word that I would describe you with.
Oh, I see myself like I don't like fisting or anything. Oh, hang on. So Gaz Riley's come back with a description over on YouTube.
Okay.
The system they have in Iceland, it's sex first, and he's put sex with a capital S, Emily, like he means business. It's sex first to see if they like you, then maybe a date. I mean, this is kind of what Fields is like, actually.
That's the ultimate try before you buy, isn't it?
100%. So how do you, if you are just a one at a time person, have you ever come into situations of uncertainty? Because in my sort of dating life, I've kind of gone to places where I've kind of like dated someone and I'm only a one by one person. And then I've sort of felt insecure because I don't know whether they're one by one, and I don't want to ask. And if I ask, I'm weird. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, the awkward conversation of, are you sleeping with anyone else?
Because it's quite an aggressive thing to say, isn't it? It's like, are you sleeping with anyone else?
Yeah. I would say it's different when I was like drinking and when I was sober. I would say like meeting people was more regular when I was drinking, and it was a lot less committal, if you get what I'm saying. So they probably So they probably were getting with other people. But now I'm sober, I actually am very conscious about who I date and make it very clear that I am looking for a relationship, that I don't date multiple people. And if I'm like sleeping with them, then, you know, I wouldn't be okay if they were sleeping with other people.
So that's really interesting. So because I don't think Gaz is just banging on YouTube. Gaz, we're all on Instagram, mate. We're all on Instagram. I think it's really interesting because you're talking about a switch from your like dating boundaries, as it were, like, you know, to becoming very more like, I'm going to ask for what I want in, you know, and what I find acceptable. And I totally get that. And I totally resonate with that. But for me, there was a space where everything was just a free for all. And I wasn't sure that I knew how to ask for what I wanted, or that even I deserved to ask for what I want. Because I think sometimes like Tinder dating and Hinge dating and all those sort of apps, it almost feels weird to ask for some intimacy. Because, you know, when you have the...
Yeah, it's quite disposable. I think it's quite a disposable thing at its core, isn't it? Like, it is quite shallow. And, like, if they're dating you, well, they've probably gone on God knows however many dates. And if you're, like, talking to them on Tinder, they're probably talking to 10 other people on Tinder. Like, it's more of, like, quantity over quality, perhaps, with that approach, I feel. So it makes you feel less able to ask, maybe.
Well, seeing now that I am now on a fetish app, because like I'm so knowledgeable about that, I've been on there for 48 hours. No, I'm just kidding. But like, one of the things that I've been thinking about specifically in the last couple of days is that, what was it? I can't remember. I've lost the train of thought.
Well, if you remember, let me know.
I will do, but it was really deep. And really, like, I would have changed some lives by telling you it, and like, people would have like written books about the things that I.
Okay, well, will you please voice note me just in case it will change my life if you do remember it?
Yeah. Oh no, that's it. I think men on Tinder, not all men, obviously, but I think sometimes men cannot be honest about what they're looking for. They can kind of like, they'll say they're looking for just sex. But really, sometimes if you've been seeing them for a while, their actions slip into more sort of boyfriendy territory. And so you're left feeling quite confused. And then when you call them out, then they kind of get there. Well, in my experience, I've been ghosted off the back of that, even though they're sending me like kind of very sort of like boyfriendy sort of points of contact.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had that before as well, where they're like, I'm not looking for anything serious. And you're like, okay, fine. Okay. Like, you know, I get that. And then they're inviting you over to the parents' house at the weekend or something. And it's like, hang on, I'm really confused. You told me that you weren't looking for anything. And then when you kind of like, you know, oh, you know, we're obviously not seeing other people. They're like, no, I didn't say that. Like I said, I wanted something casual. Like I told you that at the beginning. And it's like, hang on a minute, pal. That's not what you, like, going to your parents' house is not casual, you know? So I think there is an element of like, just being really upfront from the beginning, trying to avoid, like, the more upfront you are and the more honest you are, the less likely you are to get into those difficult conversations and those difficult situations, I think. But that doesn't mean that still can't happen, because as we all know, dating is a minefield, sober or not sober.
Yeah, totally. I think one of the things, and one of the growth, the sort of growth spurts of my sobriety and being single and all that stuff, is that I'm fine if I say what I want, and it's not sexually I'm talking about, I mean like emotionally. If I say, oh, I'm looking for this, I'm now okay if the other person doesn't want that, because I feel like I can move on.
100%.
Whereas before I'd be like, oh, I'm looking for this, but only if you are. Do you know what I mean? It was very much more sort of like, oh, you know, I would take what I would end up in sort of like intimate situations, and then I'd almost like be taking the crumbs, just like, oh, maybe this means he likes me, you know, just this sort of stuff, instead of just going, actually, no, I don't want that. You are obviously not like sorted out in your own mind. I'm okay. And I've walked away from a couple of like text situations where the guy sort of being quite unmanageable around his texts, and kind of, I've said, okay, that's fine, I'll speak to you on this day, and then they continue texting, and I just ignore, like, it's just little simple boundaries like that. Yeah, Jessica
Yeah,
DC says being sober has allowed me to put down boundaries. 100%.
yeah, 100%. And also to be able to feel more confident in yourself, I think, because you have more like self-respect and more self-love for yourself to actually walk away and be like, this isn't acceptable and this is not how I want to be treated. And like I felt like maybe I wasn't able to do that as much when I was drinking. Like I didn't have that self-confidence. And also I'm really clear about what I want, and that's a really healthy, happy and loving relationship. So if something doesn't kind of fall into those categories, I'm more than happy to walk away because I know someone just isn't like emotionally ready to meet me at that point, and that's fine. So it's not about trying to change people, it's just being more conscious that people don't necessarily want the same as what you want, and being able to recognize that and walk away from it.
And so, like, I mean, that's such a grown up, emotionally sober thing. And I'm with you on that page 100%. But I know me probably 18 months ago, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, that was not the vibe I was giving up. And you know, I know that I'm in a 12 step. I don't make any bones about it. I mean, like my sponsor helped me get to that point. Who helped you get to that point? Because that's a really emotionally sort of stable, grounded place to be.
I think probably myself, from having years of being like in an unhealthy dating spiral of always attracting the same sort of people, always being in kind of the same situations. But as I've got more sober, and I don't mean when I initially went sober, but you know, you become more emotionally sober in yourself because at the beginning you're all over the place, let's be
Yeah,
honest.
mess.
And with that, just becoming a more conscious being and trying to, this is going to sound again very woo woo, but I'm going to go with it. But
Go with it.
just living in alignment in all areas of my life. And I looked at my life. I
I'm
looked.
just
I I looked at my life, and I was like, I'm living so consciously in all my other areas, in my work, in my friendships, in my self development, in being healthy and showing up for myself. But my love life was still one that I found myself in a negative spiral and negative habits, and still attracting like, you know, not really destructive people, because obviously again that changed. But it did take a while, and 2.5 years in, I do feel now I'm there, and I can say that with like authenticity that that is the type of person I attract in. But it definitely has taken me a while to do that.
how long have you been sober now?
2.5 years.
Yeah, great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Um, what was I going to say? Oh, so did you? So I think part of it is when you give up drinking. Drugs is part of my story. So when I gave up drinking and drugs, I could put them in a box. But when it came to all the relationships and the sex stuff, that stuff I'm allowed to do, and therefore my unmanageability sort of went into that a bit, as well as my
Mm,
food and my exercise, all that sort of stuff that you're allowed. You have. It's not as life threatening as, you know, drinking, you know, the drink and drug stuff for me. But yeah, and for me, what worked well is a period of celibacy. Did you do any of the celibacy stuff?
that'll be a no. But I did stipulation have a boyfriend when I went sober. So
Okay.
I don't think that would have gone down very well. By the way, I'm becoming sober and celibate. Uh, I don't think he was a drinker as well. So I think I probably would have been out. He would have been like, see you later. But I must say, after that relationship, I did, this is not in a sexual way, just to clarify, sit with myself for about 6 months.
Did you step
And
away from the dick? Is that what you're saying? You stepped away from the dick?
I did. I took a step back and was like, we need to reassess this situation. So I broke up with him, and I did have some time to myself, which I will have to say was really important, because especially when you've gone sober and you've been with someone, that person then becomes something you are reliant on. So then when you're sober and you don't have a relationship, you're not taking drugs, you're not smoking, you're not having alcohol, you're very left by yourself to actually deal with yourself, which is an important thing to go through because you have nowhere to hide anymore.
Mm. I was when people get sober and they've got partners that still drink, I'm always like, yeah, I'll give it about 3 months. Was it like as soon as you got sober, was it just like Was it only a matter of time before that relationship finished because you were changing on such a cellular, like on such an intrinsic level?
To be honest, I really think I deserve like a gold medal for not relapsing for a whole year and still being able to be in that relationship.
Why is that?
Because it was, he was a bit like me in a sense, and that's probably why we ended up together. He was quite extreme with his drinking, and I was very much in that category as well. So you've got two people that are doing that together, and then suddenly one of them isn't. Obviously, the whole dynamic of your relationship changes.
Yeah.
And it was really hard being together for a year, and it was quite off and on, but we managed about a year, and then it got to the point where I'm going to use the word again. I'm going to go for it.
Go on,
It's
do
my
it,
favorite
do it.
word. We just weren't in alignment anymore. And
I wish I had a soundboard. I could be like,
it's my favorite word ever. Just weren't in alignment, and we were, you know, vibrating differently.
I bet you were.
I like to say that, like, it was like he was tuned into Kiss FM and I was tuned into classical FM.
Yeah.
You know, it just wasn't on the same vibes, and you've got to know when to leave the party, and that was the time.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be in that club when you're trying to mix those two. That's not cool.
No.
Yeah, I always think that I noticed when I got sober that so I, you know, without insinuating the guilty or the innocent, like I always think that, I mean, I think I'm quite a codependent person, and I think the relationships that broke down were the relationships with someone else where I had like quite a codependent relationship, well, not romantic, and it's almost like if you're codependent, the close relationships you have are also codependent in their own way. It's not just you. It's like if someone's needy, then someone likes to be needed. If there is a couple, do you know what I mean?
Mm.
And so yeah, like getting sober for me was like navigating my way. Oh, good question. Jessica's got I was going down a sort of like tumbleweed cul-de-sac with that thought. So I'm so glad that Jessica's picked up, and she said, what are your girls' views on sober sex with someone who has been drinking? Got any thoughts on that one?
I think it depends how much they've been drinking. Are they just a bit tipsy and they're just feeling a bit more loose and a bit more wild? Then yeah, that's fine. If they're like nearly a comatose, I wouldn't recommend it, you know? What vibe are we on with their drinking? I mean, personally, I think it's fine after a few beers. Obviously, the issue can be that they may not be able to get it up as easily after if they've had too much, which could be an issue. Which obviously isn't great if you're sober.
I mean, there sounds the tone of someone that's had that happen to them. That's what I'm feeling.
I mean, look, it's a casualty of sex, isn't it? Sometimes that people can't get it up.
I have a bit of a different view. I'm a bit more Puritan. Is it Puritan? We're a bit more like a bit more. Is that Puritan? I mean,
look, I think if it's a few beers and they're, you know, they're just a bit, you know, loving, it's fine. If they're absolutely paralytic and they don't know what's going on, it's not okay. I think you should send them to bed with some water.
So when I was newly sober, I went up to Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and I decided to hang around bars and try and pick up drunk comedians, and I had sex with a comedian that was very, very drunk. I mean, my first week of sobriety, I had a date with Jamie the Scaffolder, and Jamie the Scaffolder did cocaine on our date, and I still had sex with him. So, look, that is the sort of mental space I was in the first few weeks of my sobriety. But I had sex with this guy in Edinburgh, and I felt like I wasn't sure if he was into it. I felt like, I don't know. I felt a bit like, oh, did he even like me? You know, like that kind of vibe. But now I think I'm in the place where I think if he has anything more than one or two drinks, I don't want to. Like, I'll never have a conversation with someone. Never have like a conversation with someone about anything, not even serious, but like important, that isn't just banter or like, I'll meet you at this place at this time. If they've had more than one drink, I just won't.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the whole drinking and dating situation, like I have to say I've been actually really lucky where people have been really respectful and have actually not really drank on my dates, which I'm grateful for. I've had a few people turn up with a stonking hangover, so actually they probably just don't want to drink again. They've probably thought, oh God, I'm going on a date with a sober person tomorrow. I better get absolutely paralytic and get it out of my system the night before so that I can just be there with my, vodka, not vodka. What I'm trying to think of a sober drink, like seed lip and tonic or whatever, instead of a gin and tonic.
Is that one of your
So
sponsors? Is that one of your sponsors just dropping it, name dropping into the
just
chat?
casually dropping them in there. No, I mean, I feel like I love all non-alcoholic drinks brands. I'd hate,
Please sponsor Emily.
I would hate to affiliate, put myself in one category.
Obviously, yeah, 100%. I feel
Don't
you.
do that.
What was I going to say? Oh, I had a really another deep thing to say. What were you just saying just a
I have
minute
a
ago?
question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think sober sex is better? Do you get more
Yes.
enjoyment?
Well, I mean, it depends. Yes, yeah. If it's with someone I like, yeah. I mean, I think sobriety's kind of cock blocked me a little bit that I can't have a hookup in the same way that I could before. Like I
Agreed.
can't
I
have.
don't really fancy people. Like I find it really hard to fancy people. Whereas when I was drunk, I really fancied people. Maybe after about 30 minutes of meeting them. Um, and now I don't really have that.
No, I mean it's very much a slow burn for me. I think I'm quite a slow burn, and um,
Mm.
yeah, I'm definitely not. I definitely definitely takes a longer to like build a connection, and sober sex is much better. But it also highlights when bad sex is bad. You can't get lost in the fantasy of it. You've got to go, oh, this is. I mean, I've walked out of sex before and just gone, this is terrible. Um, what do you think about? I know you're not on date. I know you're not on dating apps, but I had someone ask me about should they put date that they're sober on their dating profile. I wondered if you had any thoughts about that.
100%. I'm all for it.
Are you? Why?
Yeah. Because on the dating apps you can say you can put most like on Hinge or on Bumble, you can put
Yeah.
I don't drink, don't you, on your thing. So you don't actually have to like write it. You can put it as one of the, looking for a relationship, don't drink. And I think it's really important to put that you don't drink personally, because few reasons. One is you're not gonna waste your time with someone that doesn't want to date a non-drinker. So, because let's be honest, and you know this, I genuinely would rather be in bed with a cup of tea and a hot cross bun. I don't have time for shit dates. So if you're bothered about, that I don't drink, then I don't want to waste my time with you. Number one. Number
Yes.
two, it saves really awkward date situations where they've booked a wine bar, for example, and all you can drink is the tap water. Well, that's a bit shit, isn't it? And the third reason is I think you are more likely to attract someone that,
Yeah.
here we go again, is more in, what's the word? Alignment with you.
Alignment, baby.
We're all in alignment and we'll connect better if you are vibrating on the same level as someone. And if you're in all senses, and if you're going on a date with someone that likes to have like 10 pints and you're sitting there with seed lip and tonic or a liars and tonic, whatever brand we want to go for, it's not great. So that's why I personally think that you should say that you don't drink.
Yes, I'm with you on that. I like in the categories I do say like I don't drink. So if people are looking, they'll find that information. But I don't put like if it's on when I was allowed on Tinder, they
Before
banned me
you got
about
banned.
before I got banned on Tinder. And like Bumble, I think as well. You put it in the profile description bit. I've experimented with going, and by the way, I'm sober. And it just doesn't work. My advice is don't put it in the main description, because I feel like, when you get those guys
I think
that are
it's like just making a bigger deal of it than it needs to be as well. Like it's
that's it.
almost like, hi, I'm putting this out there and there might be an issue here.
I need to
Which
let you know I'm sober.
yeah, exactly.
It's just overly dramatic.
It really is. And like some people just might not care.
Well, that's it. But that's
They
like, that's
might
one of
not
the.
care. So it's just like, and also if someone says, shall we go for a drink? I say, yes, but I'll be having a ginger ale.
Oh, really? I mean, I
Like
don't say.
just nonchalant. I just let them know up front in a, non,
I should be
uh,
having a.
like I don't know, you don't want to make it into a big deal. So I think that's an easy way to get around the fact by saying, hey, I don't drink, but by the way, this isn't a big deal for me.
Well, I would like to. I always thought that people drank as much as me, and I don't. I kind of experimented a bit with kind of saying it before and saying it like, oh, and doing that what you just did, and then some like now I just kind of don't say anything, and just go, oh, I'll have a such and such. Oh yeah, don't drink, and that sort of vibe. Do you know what I mean? Was that did that just come out
Yeah,
your mouth? Like,
I have to say I disagree. I don't want
oh,
to be
do
controversial.
you?
I don't want to be controversial here, but I am very all
What?
for setting that expectation before you go on the date.
Oh, I don't. Really?
Yeah,
Why?
because I just feel it potentially could not go down well.
But I think if you're going out with a bit of an Essex lad, because like everybody,
Because they're like, how many grams should we pick up before we go on the date?
so, you just picked up like a couple of grams. But when you're going on a date with a bit of a caner, because every photo is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Do you know what I mean? Every photo is just a bit boozy.
Although, just to stipulate, I'm sure not all Essex people do that, by the way. That
What?
just in case there's loads of Essex people watching, I don't think that necessarily of Essex people.
It's all right. I love the fact that
yeah.
you're apologising for my behaviour. Like, oh God, sorry, not her again. You'll have to excuse my friend.
Well, just in case, I don't want to offend anyone. You never know who's watching, do you?
Emily, Essex defender. Hey. No, but I just think if you're going, oh, sorry, I don't drink, then I just feel like that's very pink cloudy. Oh, hang on, it's a bit pink. I just think like in your early sobriety, you can be a bit pink cloudy and be like, oh, I just need to tell everyone in some way that I'm different and special. But I think that's just me because I'm a bit cynical.
I mean, I just don't want to rock up there, and I haven't told them that. And A, they've got a problem with it, so they don't want to date me anyway. So I'm wasting my time. B, they've taken me, like I said, to a wine bar, and then it's really awkward because what the hell do I order? And C, also, it makes them have to put a bit more effort into the date to come up with creative places to see where they've got non-alcoholic drinks.
Oh, that's so good. I mean, I don't think we're both going to see eye to eye on this one. I think
We're not. We're going to have to agree to disagree.
And that's what sobriety is. And we had some questions. Rachel says, I set the date, then say a few hours before, oh, by the way, I'm not drinking tonight, pregnant. No, she didn't say that. She didn't say that. Not had a date cancelled because of it yet. And then I had a question from Jessica. Said, Eleanor, would you ever tell a date that you're an AA? If so, how many dates before you do? You generally just smash it out in the beginning. If that chat, I don't know, just on the date. But like last night, because I'm now polyamorous, that's just what I am now. I just smashed out all my dark, like I was like, oh yeah, I used to be a sugar baby, and I'm an AA, and I just smashed out all my dark secrets. And he was like, oh yeah, okay, isn't everybody a sugar baby in AA? And I was like, oh my God, you're so free. And I left that date going, I need to do more extreme shit to surprise him. But yeah.
So are you going to see him again?
Yeah, he's coming round on Friday.
So do you think you're going to have sex with him?
Yeah, probably. But
Okay.
there's no pressure to or not to.
No, of course, because
no
everyone's polyamorous. There's no pressure.
No pressure to do anything, man.
Everyone's in alignment with each other.
I knew you were going to say that. But yeah, he was just really, honestly, I hadn't laughed with a guy like that for ages. And he just drank one beer. So you're like, oh, they must be really crazy, those polyamorous fetish people. But actually, he was just like, oh no, I'll just have one beer. I've got to get up early for tomorrow. He's like a radiologist and he like looks at people's insides. So yeah, I mean, I went on a bit of a rant there. So we've covered sex in sobriety. We've covered pretty much anything. Does anyone have any questions? Sanjay says, I love the thought process. Men need to get more creative. So you've got a fan with I'm going to tell them that I don't drink, so they have to be more creative.
Yeah, I feel like people should be creative with their dates. Like they should have to think like, of something fun for you to do and actually like show that they've put in some effort. I hate it when people haven't thought about it. It really annoys me.
But Beth says, this is your best guest. You're the best guest so
Oh,
far.
thanks, Beth.
What's like a really good date that impresses you that you go, oh wow, this person smashed it? What's the best sort of imaginative date? Because I always never know where to go on a date. It's always a bit like, oh, crazy golf.
Um, I would really like it. I do, to be honest, I actually think it's really sweet when people have like looked for non-alcoholic drinks and specifically taken me somewhere because they know that it has a good menu. I thought that that's really like a thoughtful thing. Um, but my dream date is to play table tennis.
That's your dream date.
Bloody love it.
Has anyone taken you on that date? Yeah.
Yeah, and I really like it because I'm really good at table tennis, so I always beat them.
Did you did you know that you were good at table tennis before that they took you for the date there?
Yeah,
Oh, so you knew it. You were like, oh, maybe we could go table tennis, and you're like, I'm
yeah,
gonna.
I'm gonna like kick your ass, pal.
Oh, really? So you don't even pretend to not like you don't make yourself smaller. You're like,
Absolutely. I'm already 4'10". I really don't need to do that.
um, Jessica asks another question. Do you feel more sexually adventurous drunk or sober?
Oh.
I'll answer this one first. As I'm now Polly and a dominatrix, not. I think I don't know actually. I feel I have less seedy sex now because I'm not doing cocaine. That's and sexually adventurous. I don't really know actually. What does sexually adventurous mean? I think I'm more open to like having friends with benefits and exploring that side of things. And I don't know what how do you feel about it, Emily?
Um, I feel that I think I would like. How do I feel about this? This is a very difficult question.
Yeah, it is
I
because
feel like I was probably like a bit more wilder when I was drunk.
but what does sexually adventurous actually mean? Does that mean like
Yeah, how
um
adventurous are we talking about? Are we talking like are we tying them up and gagging them, or are we like I don't know spanking them? I don't know what vibe we're talking about. I
yeah,
mean, I would,
Jessica?
or are we just can we define adventurous sex?
Yeah, feel free to. What is it? What can people please define what adventurous sex means to them? In keep it cleanish. It's like, I've got some perverts on my thing. Can you
Trying new
define what?
things in the bedroom. I mean, I think because I'm like consciously dating people now. I would be up for being more adventurous because I'm in probably more of a trusting partnership than I was
Yeah,
when I was drinking, and it was just a bit more sporadic and random, and it was just like, are you really fit? Great, I'll go back home with you, you know? Whereas now I actually generally care about I have a boundary where I won't have casual sex. I will only have sex if I'm seeing someone. And where that happens, I think you build a stronger, more trusting relationship. So you're open to do more things, is what I would say to that
I
question.
love that answer. You've answered it without actually answering it. I absolutely love it.
Without going into too much detail about what that is.
Well, yes, I used to really love fisting, but now I just love doing it fisting and twisting. Just I know
I
what you
mean, I
mean.
don't know if anyone's ever really loved fisting, have they?
I don't know. Answer in the
I've
comments,
never,
guys.
I would never do that, and I never have done that. But I'm not judging anyone that would, just to clarify.
Because she's sex positive. I like that.
Yeah.
What was it? So in terms of like the seeing bit, when like do you have a chat? So what is your dating handbook at the moment in terms of like maybe not just for you, but like so you'll go on a couple of dates with someone,
Hmm.
and then how do you see it play out now that you are sober and trying to be a bit more mindful?
What date number are we on?
Well, I don't know, mate. I mean, is it
Should we
you go
say
out
date
on
number 4?
you have sex on date number 4?
We're on date number 4. depending if I feel like, yeah, around that time, I feel like that's a good date number to. I mean, I don't put too much premise on the actual date number because I just feel, you know, if you're getting on well and you feel like you've connected with that someone and you trust them. I mean, I think first date sex is a no.
Yeah.
I don't think it ever ends well, and that's not necessarily because I disagree with, oh, we as women shouldn't be having sex on the first date. It's actually nothing to do with that. It's just the fact, I think, when you don't know someone that well and you're putting yourself in a really vulnerable position, it can actually make you feel really shit the next day.
Yeah, that's one thing that stopped working for me when I got sober was one night stands.
Yeah.
I was like, it just makes me feel, but it took me a while to realize that I was feeling shit because of it. It's
Yeah,
like
it's almost like you'd taken a drug and then you're on a calm down.
yeah,
That's what it really felt like. And I was like, okay, no, that still feels really bad for me. So I definitely put that boundary in place because not because I don't believe in it, because I think that actually, like, we should all be able to enjoy great sex. And if that is a one night stand for someone, then that's great. But for me, it just makes me feel really, really shit the next day. So I have to remove it.
yeah. I think realizing that it makes me feel shit and empty was part of it was definitely a part of my sobriety. Like I kept acting, definitely acting in my old ways, probably
Mm,
for the first 3 years,
yeah.
and just kind of going, oh, this used to work, I'll try this, ha ha ha, and then just sort of feeling shit, going, oh, that didn't work out how you wanted to do work, is it? Like you just had, you know, and I'd have sex, but we weren't on, I didn't make sure we were on the same page before having sex. It was like a thing that I negotiated after the sex, and you can't negotiate. You're in no place to negotiate after you've had the sex. You can't be like, oh, I'm gonna have sex with you on the first day. Oh, actually, I really
Look,
want a
you can
relationship.
always negotiate pre-cum, but you cannot negotiate post-cum.
I think I'm gonna get a tattoo with that. Do you know what I mean? That is something. um, and so in
I
terms of
really
like,
hope my mum isn't watching, by the way. She said that she was going to watch. So, mum, if you're watching, I'm really sorry.
no, but I think you're giving some really good advice, and I think people that watch this afterwards as well will get some really good stuff out of this. Um, in terms of what I mean, the sort of floor plan of how you're dealing with relationships, less so like, oh, I have sex on the third date or the fourth date. So more so like you go on dates, like do you check before you have sex if what the other person's looking for? Because I started doing that and that's worked well for me.
Yeah, I would like to have had that conversation well, on the first date, I suppose, to know that I'm not wasting any time. Yeah.
And what sort of things do you cover in that chat?
Hey, what are you looking for? And I say, I'm looking for a relationship. What about you? And if they're like, I'm just looking for a quick bunk up, buy me dinner, see you later.
Oh, you
You
stay
know?
for the dinner. I love
Oh, I
that.
love free food.
Yeah, that works for me too. Like, I think I've only had sex with 2 people in 3 years. Not a lot. And one person I was seeing for a bit.
Didn't you
But
have a weird Australia situation?
I did. Yeah, I did.
It...
His friends follow me, so let's not talk about that. But yeah. But I did, and I wrote a show about it. I don't know if he knows about it, but that was a really lovely experience actually for me. Well, it was quite a growing experience for me because for the first time, I'd gone through a period of celibacy, and then I wasn't looking for it because I think become quite addicted. So when I'm in that cycle of a sort of addictive sort of like, oh, I'll just see what's on the match. When I'm hunting for dick, I'm hunting for dick, and I can't switch that off. And I needed that period of celibacy to sort of like really cleanse the palate and just sort of give me a bit of a leveler. So it meant that I could live my life and not look for dick every time I went into a room. It was becoming an issue. And then so I'd had a year of that, and then I met this guy, and I didn't even know that he might like me. I just kept hanging out. And then when it was clear that that romantic stuff was going to happen, for the first time, and it was such a big move for me, I was just like, oh, what are you looking for? I said, I'm not looking for just a one night stand. And he went, me neither. And I went, yay! And then we banged. And that's, I've never done that before. That was a real growing moment for me. So I think it's good to hear that you have a similar thing to do as well. You do that too.
Yeah, I think it's really important to do it. And coming from a situation where I haven't done that previously and just knowing how bad that it feels, it's important to put yourself out there and, you know, step into your true self and become confident. And, you know, as a woman, it's okay to like stipulate what you want, and we shouldn't like feel ashamed to do that.
I think sometimes we're supposed to be like, hey, like Sex and the City. Hey, I don't care. Like we're all supposed to be like Samantha from Sex and the City. Like, hey, I don't care. I can go out and bang all these men and be totally okay with it. But actually, if you ask for anything like, oh, actually, I just like, you know, if you try and show any vulnerability in sort of this modern dating situation, sometimes it's almost like, ugh. And then she showed me her feelings, ghost. You know, I feel like it can be quite harsh.
Yeah, I think there's the fine line, isn't there, between being vulnerable and then them running a mile.
Mike says, "Read my comments, please." Mike,
Oh, okay.
I wish you'd written a more entertaining comment. To be honest,
what is the comment? This better be good, Mike.
Comment. Oh no, he's I think he wrote. Oh yeah, it's Mike _E888. I'm on YouTube and Insta now. Ha ha. And then he's asked us to follow that up and read it. Well, I've read your comment. Thank you for your comment, Mike.
It was a great comment, Mike.
So once you've sussed out whether you are emotionally on the same page and it becomes physical, are you expecting at that point them to be seeing other people, or is it do you in that conversation, is that an exclusive chat? Because that's an early time to have an exclusive chat if you are one of the lads on Hinge or whatever.
Yeah, it's an early doors chat. I also think it would. I mean, the thing is, I'm not going to actively have got to that point with someone if I am dating other people, because I obviously don't multiple date. I probably wouldn't sleep with someone if they were saying that they were multiply dating people at this point.
So do you ask them at that point, like, I'm not really?
Yeah, I would say I'm not. Like, if it's like fourth date territory, I would probably say I'm not sleeping with anyone else. Are you?
Yeah. And do you find, okay, cool. Have you said that many times to men? Have you, is that is that a conversation? I've only had that conversation once.
I have had that conversation, not loads, but I would say in the past year in my dating is where I've really like firmed up these boundaries. I would say the first year of my sobriety was still very much figuring all of this out, like what made me feel good, what didn't make me feel good. And then coming into like my second year and feeling so much more confident in myself and knowing exactly what I want now, I have started to do that. Yeah. So for me, it hasn't been loads either, but it has definitely been in the past year where I've really started to do that.
Honestly, I know it's such a basic thing to implement and put in, but it's like it's such a move. Well, it was a move forward for me, just to be like, I'm looking for this. Are you looking for this? I'm this kind of person. I'm only dating one at a time. Are you dating one at a time?
Yeah, get in the queue, pal.
Mikey EAA, I don't know where Mikey's come from. He says, are you both single? Oh, yes, we are. And he says, making sure you lovely ladies are live. I feel like Mike is the kind of man that gets catfished on webcams quite a lot. Don't show your face, Mike. Don't show your face in any of the videos. You'll get caught out. You'll get ransomed in an email. And so, yeah. Beth says, I always wonder about America. Dating means something different. Apparently, E, what are your thoughts? To be honest, I don't know anything about America dating. I really, really don't know anything. So I think that's been such a really, I think it was a really good chat. I think that whole thing of just putting in that boundary early doors is so difficult, especially if you're a people pleaser. I'm a people pleaser. I'm like, oh God, I'll take what I'm given.
Yeah, it's all about not having the breadcrumbs but wanting the whole loaf, you know?
Yes.
I don't want your breadcrumbs. I want the loaf.
And I deserve the loaf.
I deserve the loaf. A really big loaf.
Charlie says, this is very entertaining, ladies. Brightens up my Thursday night. Hey, Charlie Brooks, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, Charlie Brooks. We love you.
Charlie Brooks can only be talked as Charlie Brooks. She does not have one name. It is two names. It's very much a two-name situation. Yeah. Eloisa says, I've noticed that after being sober, I've raised the bar with the men I've dated. It's easier to express what I want and what I won't put up with. Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, look, I think get the information, find out what the other person's about, and if it's not what you want, you can't change that. You can't make them do that. So you just go, all right, well, good luck with that. I'm like this, I'm doing this, and I'll go my separate ways. I think sometimes totally. I've been guilty in the past is I've kind of not asked those questions. I've gone forward with my expectations in my head, and my sponsor says expectation leads to resentment, which is a little AA cliche for all the AA people watching. And I've tried to negotiate the contract once I've delivered the goods on the contract, whether that be emotional or time or sex. And you can't really do that. You can't get resentful for someone if you haven't discussed the basic terms of a contract. And that's the same with business and personal and sexual and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't communicated as well, like, it's actually your responsibility. Like, people aren't mind readers. If you haven't stipulated exactly what you want, then you can't really get angry and people haven't given that to you. So it is really important to communicate and just be really honest with it so you can get what you want from your dating life.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, do you know what? Thanks so much for coming
on. God, we've gassed on as per usual.
I love it. I love it. We've got a couple of comments on the old YouTube. Hang on, I think we're getting hit on. We're getting hit on in the YouTube comments. That's
Who
what's
are
happening.
Where are we
going? BFD Bandit. I don't know. They're talking about. I don't know what he's talking about. What is that? What the hell? Right.
That's not to read it.
Hang on. Read YouTube, ladies. Do you have beef curtains? No, I'm turning vegetarian actually.
I'm actually vegan, so that would be a no from me.
Yeah. Annie says, I started viewing from the start and I'm only about 16 minutes in. I love Eleanor. Oh, thank you, mate. They don't read YouTube. We do read YouTube, Michael. We've been reading YouTube. And then Gaz steps in and goes, she did earlier. And then people have been telling me to read YouTube on YouTube, which doesn't help on that. Gaz is telling him to come to there. And then there's I don't know. They're all chatting. They're chatting about curtains and blinds. I mean, there's excellent chat going on YouTube.
I mean, I feel like that's highly inappropriate, YouTube.
They're all sort of like, I think like the people that follow me on YouTube, I did an interview with Sean Atwood ages ago, and I think they're Sean's fans. Yeah.
And who's Sean Atwood?
Oh, you should check him out. He's very good. He is a ex-drug kingpin that got banged up in America for like initially 200 years, but then he got his sentence reduced to 6 years, and he's just written this book. He used to smuggle out like a journal about the living conditions of the jail through his legal documents, and he got famous and wrote.
What a guy!
Books. Yeah, okay. Honestly, he's sober as well, actually. Brilliant. What have you got going on? Do you want to do a quick plug before you disappear into the night?
Well, I've got my amazing Sober and Social membership launch next Saturday, the 26th of September, with Morning Gloryville and DJ Fat Tony. So if anyone wants to sign up for the membership, obviously it's going to be, I don't mean to swear, but it's going to be fucking fabulous. Go to my Instagram at Sober and Social _ and sign up for the waitlist. If anyone has any further questions, send me a DM.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me and just having this really honest, candid chat. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, babes.
All right, thank you so much. If you want to give her a round of applause during.
Okay, I'll see you later.
See you later, Emily. Everybody, goodbye to Emily from Sober and Social. Thank you so much. Thank you to the people on YouTube. It was a random stream of consciousness, but I appreciate you nonetheless. Annie, thank you so much. It is sitting in on a girls' night. This is how we talk when we're on our own. It 100% is. Thank you so much for joining and sticking with me for the whole 2 segments. I think we've got the tech working properly, and that's exciting. Manchester crew, I'm doing my first live show back in 6 months. You may recognise me from Tinder, October 4th at the Frog and Bucket. If you want to support the stream, please go to ko-fi.com/worst day ever. I can use it to pay for like a producer, which is like the dream. Also, if you want to catch up on my porn fund quest, where I get my own artisan porn sex tape created for me by my favourite porn star. You guys have crowdfunded that bespoke, customized porn sex tape. Thank you so much, you perverts. But if you want to find out the private updates, then head on over to my Patreon. You can get access to the insider part of that for just £3, and you get to support me, and that's great. Thank you so much. I am gonna be coming back on Thursday at 8 p.m. Also, I might be back on Monday as well, but I don't know because I might have a date, so who knows. All right, take care of yourself. I'll see you soon. Bye.